Hey everybody, good evening and welcome on into Capitol tonight. I'm Tim Boym. As always, we hope you and your family are doing well. We do start tonight with a bill that codifies many of the drastic funding cuts put in place by the so-called Department of Government Efficiency. Everything from foreign aid to public broadcasting could see deep cuts if the bill becomes law. It's making its way through Congress. Spectrum News Washington reporter Daniel Grimes has the latest tonight from D.C.
A first step. That's how the White House is referring to $9 billion in cuts from the federal budget currently up for debate. Congress had already approved these funds, and this bill would claw some of that money back. It's an effort to start tackling the more than $36 trillion national debt, but the cuts represent only 0.1% of the federal budget.
A lot of these recommendations now are an implementation of what DOJ found in areas of the budget that they thought we could achieve savings.
The current bill would cut nearly $8 billion in global health programs and international development, and more than $1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which funds PBS and NPR. The cuts are smaller than what President Donald Trump wanted and what the House passed last month because senators removed $400 million in cuts to a global HIV and AIDS prevention program called PEPFAR. It was created under the Bush administration and has been credited with saving millions of lives around the world. President Trump has called the public broadcasting programs biased and has railed against foreign spending. He created the U.S. DOJ service to identify cuts to these areas and more. Still, there are divisions, even among Republicans, with criticisms ranging from the bill's effect on rural areas who rely on public television to executive overreach.
What we're getting now is a direction from the White House and being told, this is the priority. We want you to execute on it. We'll be back with you with another round. I don't accept that. I'm going to be voting no.
They just cut. They have no idea what the consequences will be, and they don't give a hoot.
After the Senate, the bill still needs to go back to the House before making its way to the president's desk. All of this needs to happen by Friday because Republicans are trying to pass this bill using a process that only requires a simple majority. But the law gives them 45 days to act before requiring the funds to be released as Congress originally intended. In Washington, Daniel Grimes, Spectrum News.
Daniel, thank you. Joining us now for more on that bill and more is Congresswoman Valerie Foushee. Congresswoman, it's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the Butner prison here in just a minute, but I do want to ask about this recessions bill. I believe WUNC and UNC TV are in your district. What do you think about this bill the Senate's got, and what are your concerns about these cuts?
Well, I have great concerns about that package in general, but as it relates to the media that you just mentioned, certainly we all should be alarmed at any attempts to take away people's ability to get information and to get information on which they can rely, and to understand what public broadcasting does for most of us and many of us in rural areas, as it relates to weather, as it relates to emergency situations, and just for information that's reliable. So certainly I have issues with that. And I think that we all should. I think that as it relates to free speech and being able to get credible, reliable information, we should protect that.
I feel like TMZ asking you this, but this whole Epstein files business is getting so much attention in national media. I'm not going to ask you your opinion on it, but is it capturing members of Congress at all too? I know, Virginia Fox was involved in that committee yesterday. Is it capturing the attention of members of Congress?
Oh, absolutely. I think that when there is such an effort to avoid transparency, what you do is you get people's curiosity aroused that much more. And people are going to naturally ask, what are you trying to hide?
All right, so let's switch gears to priority years, issues at the Federal Prison Complex in Butner that falls in your district. It's been a focus for you going back to your first term. For those not familiar, can you explain the issues that you're hoping to address and where things are today?
Well, I think that people need to understand that unit started relatively small, but now that facility operates the nation's largest medical center for incarcerated individuals. And so when you consider what it does for those individuals and consider the employees, the staff that have been charged with not just their safety, but our safety, the conditions in which the incarcerated live and the staff work, they're deplorable. And I will tell you that I've had the opportunity to visit that site, to tour that site, and I have taken the time to meet with staff there. I have met with the AFGE Local 408 union, and they've shared their concerns. And on their behalf, I have submitted a letter to the Bureau of Prisons to look into what's going on there, particularly as these conditions deteriorate.
What is the situation with the conditions? And I'm assuming, did employees come to you? Was that kind of how this came to light?
Absolutely. They did come to me and share some concerns. And those concerns are not just about the condition of the facility, but also staffing, and people who have been overworked, people who try to make sure that the conditions are known and that they are addressed, and situations where they feel that retaliation is a part of that process. So as the representative, as I said, I have inquired to see what we needed to do and what the Bureau of Prisons was going to do in terms of addressing those facilities. And so after, we had done that, I was able to meet with the former Director Peters, in January to discuss a timeline for the infrastructure repairs and those issues that have been brought to me regarding compensation and retaliation. And so I had that meeting, and I appreciated the opportunity to have the meeting, but to date, there has been little to no progress in terms of those changes being implemented.
In your first letter, I think this goes back to 2023, right? This isn't just like earlier this year. If I'm not mistaken, that's when you first started looking into this more.
August of 2023, and it wasn't until February of 2024 that I got a response. And that response was just receipt of the letter.
So why do you think you're not getting a response at this point? Do you feel like they're trying to hide things? Or, I mean, that's kind of a nefarious looking way to ask it, I guess. But what do you think is behind this no answers?
Well, I'd like to think that they're not hiding something, but I cannot understand why you would allow conditions such as these to go on. You mentioned that it was in August of 2023 that I sent the first letter. Well, you must know that all of these situations did not arise at that time. So we're talking about a situation that has been ongoing. And to not address situations whereby people are in a specific location and there's debris falling from the ceiling, or in a situation where OSHA complaints have been issued and they have not been addressed. And so if OSHA delivers a decision on something that they've taken the opportunity to investigate, then you would think that a federal agency would begin the process of addressing those issues, and that has not occurred. Some of the complaints include deteriorating fire alarm systems, requiring staff to manually monitor and activate fire alarms, an outdated radio and stab-proof vest, for the employees, issues with wastewater management systems throughout that facility. OSHA has received notices which specifically allege that sewage is coming through the floor vent in the dining hall. This is not something that should be overlooked. if you're having these types of situations, then you know that it's harmful for people to be in those spaces.
And it's hard to find employees to work in prisons. We know that on a state level too, with issues with that.
Hard to find them, and it's going to be even harder to retain them.
One last quick question. We're almost out of time here, but is there any recourse outside of this if they don't continue to answer you?
Well, I will do what I can to make sure that they are moving forward, but I will request another meeting. And I will request that media helps to amplify what is going on in that facility.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you for the update. It's so good to see you as always. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.